In the mist-shrouded countryside of medieval Brittany, tales of a dark figure spread through parishes and villages with whispered fear. The peasants called him the Ankou, a skeletal man cloaked in black, said to drive a creaking cart and collect the souls of the dead. To the devout, he was death's servant, but to historians and skeptics, the Ankou might have been more than a legend. He may have been a real figure, or several men who used superstition as cover for murder, robbery, and unpunished violence. Brittany in the 14th and 15th centuries was a land battered by plague, famine, and war. Entire villages disappeared overnight. Mass graves became commonplace. As the Black Death spread across Europe, those who remained alive searched desperately for meaning. Superstition took hold, and the Ankou became a manifestation of death itself. Sightings were common, especially in areas struck hardest by disease. He was always seen on the roads at dusk, his cart groaning with invisible souls, his eyes glowing dimly beneath a wide-brimmed hat. But beneath the myth, something darker may have lurked. Records from local monasteries and parishes tell of mysterious deaths, particularly among travellers, merchants, and isolated families. Many were found dead with signs of violence, throats cut, valuables missing, and in some cases, their bodies posed unnaturally. No one claimed responsibility. Instead, villagers simply said, "The Ankou has passed through." This folklore provided an ideal cover. In a time when many feared to question religious symbols, those who dressed as the Ankou, either for ritual, intimidation, or crime, operated with near impunity. Some accounts even suggest that certain parishes used the imagery of the Ankou to enforce moral behavior. Stray too far from the path of the church, and you might find yourself face to face with the cart and its master. One chilling case comes from the parish of Pluha in 1463. That winter, 8 villagers were found dead along a forested path, each with identical throat wounds and no sign of struggle. The victims came from different households and had no apparent connection, yet no arrests were made. When questioned, the villagers simply whispered they heard the creak of the cart. Clerical records reveal that the town's priest had recently spoken out against pagan practices and those who had resisted tithe collection. His sermons often included warnings of the Ankou's judgment. Was this a spiritual metaphor, or a sanctioned execution masked in myth? Throughout Brittany, similar stories surface, of masked riders travelling at night, of hooded figures dragging carts behind them, and of corpses found stripped and mutilated. The French crown, preoccupied with regional wars and succession crises, offered little attention to these outlying provinces. This neglect allowed localized power, both religious and criminal, to flourish unchecked. Art from the period reinforces the terror. Woodcuts and tapestries show skeletal figures with scythes and wheelbarrows, often surrounded by weeping peasants or crumbling churches. Some of these images contain disturbing details, human figures wearing masks, carrying blades, not supernatural but all too human. By the early 1500s, as central authority strengthened and Enlightenment thinking began to spread, belief in the Ankou faded into pure folklore. But in the centuries that followed, stories remained, passed down from parent to child, generation to generation. And historians now question whether the Ankou was ever a spirit at all, or merely a mask worn by murderers exploiting fear. The Ankou remains one of medieval Europe's most chilling figures, not just because of what he represented, but because he may have been real. In a world where death was everywhere and justice was distant, the line between myth and murder was easily crossed. And in Brittany, the creak of a wooden wheel in the dark may not have been death's servant, but death itself. Thank you for watching and for joining me as we revisited one of history's darkest crimes. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss a journey into the shadows of the past. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the past is never really gone.